everyone, I'm going to do a book review about 2 books that I've read this last year. I'm going to read the blurb and my thoughts, my review from my papers, because it was months ago that I read them. But I will be showing the covers here and I'll be putting my glasses on. So let's get into the first of it, The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. Now, the concept of this isn't new. A bunch of authors get invited to a writing retreat. And it always seems really, exciting when you read the blurb, which is the point of the blurb, is to make you excited about reading the book. So I'll read that to you now. A book deal to die for. 5 attendees are selected for a month-long writing retreat at the remote estate of Rosavallo, the controversial high priestess of feminist horror. Alex, a struggling writer, is thrilled. Upon arrival, they discover they must complete an entire novel from scratch, and the best one will receive a 7-figure publishing deal. Alex's long-extinguished dream now seems within reach. But then the women begin to die. See where this is going? Trapped, terrified, yet still desperately writing, it is clear there is more than a publishing deal at stake at Blackbriar Estate. Alex must confront her own demons and finish her novel to save herself. This was a pack of shit. Julia, you could have done so much better. Look, the premise, as with many books, always makes the book sound amazing. But sadly, in reality, it turns out to not be so great. And here are my issues with the novel. The one and only, well, not the one and only, but the main issue I have is that the female lead, Alex, is a pathetic drunk. Now, it was the same with Woman in the Window and an Australian knockoff called Other People's Houses. It was basically Woman in the Window set in Sydney here in Australia. I hate pathetic, weak female characters. We need more female writers to write strong female lead characters. I've been doing that with all of mine now. In some of my early books, they kind of start off the victim, but they become strong, they become independent, they become good, mature, strong women. Her, oh, absolutely. Burning Desires, Anything for You. Strong, emotionally mature women. They are not alcoholics. I don't drink, so why would I write an alcoholic or a drug addict? I've kind of done some of that in my Porn Star Brothers series. So, yeah, I hate female drunks in books. It turns me off a book and it turns me off a character. It makes me want to punch them in the head. When I read The Woman in the Window, I wanted to kill her by about page 80. I couldn't stand it, but I kept reading them. Alex found a door and a camera. She then went to bed and told no one. Why would you not go and tell others? Because one of them was missing. One of the women there was missing. So she found a door with the camera and then went to bed and told no one. Yeah, I felt like slapping her and telling her to snap the fuck out of it, like Cher did to Nicolas Cage in the movie Moonstruck. Snap out of it. I hate female characters. But overall, the story was very slow to start. I didn't need to know about Alex's mental issues when it came to her ex-best friend. I didn't need to know about her possibly being a lesbian. I mean, your sexuality is not my business. But I didn't need to know about the drug use happening against their will, which, that was just bad taste. Or the sex that happened under LSD that none of them had any idea about. I mean, that actually grossed me out. That bit, it was like, hang on, you drugged these people without their knowledge and then filmed them, off their face doing stuff. That was gross, quite frankly. I personally think that adding in sex scenes ruins a perfectly good action-adventure mystery show, movie or book, and I just want to see the action. It's kind of like with any zombie apocalypse movie. When 2 characters stop to have sex, it's like, why? You're in the middle of a fucking apocalypse. Why are you even thinking of sex at the moment? At the end came the stupid bullshit. And it was stupid bullshit. I won't ruin it for those who haven't read it, but fucking hell, what Rosa was up to and what the girls did and didn't do, they didn't fight, they didn't stand up for themselves, and unfortunately that's what happens when you're emotionally weak and an alcoholic who can't think straight. I wanted to smack the crap out of most of the cast, which ruined a perfectly good concept. It became ridiculously outrageous. Yeah, I gave it 4 out of 10 and that was generous. Look, there are plenty of novels about authors going to writing retreats, and they all seem to have the same concept. It's the locked room trope. Probably made most famous by Agatha Christie, and then There Were None, Murders on the Orient Express, etc. Okay, so then we move on to The Fiction Writer by Jillian Cantor. I read this not long after the writing retreat. Just put my glasses back on. This was a whole lot better. Still about a writer, as you know, I've said I'm trying to write, well, I don't think I've said in this video, I'm trying to write my own murder mystery. So I'm recording this in September. Hopefully I'll sit down in October and start that. So I've read a lot of novels about writers. So The Fiction Writer by Jillian Cantor. I'll read out the blurb. Last night I dreamt I went to Malibu again. Once rising literary star Olivia Fitzgerald is in a downward spiral. After her second novel, a retelling of Rebecca, fails, her third novel can't find a publisher. And Olivia's boyfriend breaking up with her hasn't helped her creativity much either. Broke, newly single, and struggling to write another book, she jumps at the chance for a high-paying ghostwriting job when her agent calls with the opportunity. It almost seems too good to be true. All she has to do is spend a few weeks in Malibu, interviewing Henry Asherwood, a recently widowed billionaire recluse who wants her to write a book about a stunning family secret involving his grandmother and Daphne du Maurier. But when she arrives at his Malibu estate, nothing is what it seems. For one thing, Ash is strangely reluctant to share his family secrets with Olivia, and she keeps catching him in lies. For another, he seems more interested in her than their writing project. Though, is that really such a bad thing? And when she discovers a more recent secret, Olivia finds herself caught up in a gothic mystery of her own. Now, blurbs are designed to make a book sound really interesting. It sounded really interesting. It was about a writer. I thought I'd read it. Now, this was much better than the writing retreat, but it still contained a muddle-headed woman, which turned me off. I'm of the same opinion as Jackie Collins. I want to read about strong women standing up for themselves who kick ass and don't get their ass kicked, as she used to say about her books. Not when I want to punch in the head by, you know, chapter 3. This was a far better concept than the writing retreat. It kept me entertained from start to finish, but as it turns out, it wasn't about his grandmother at all. So I'm about to give away just a few little hints. Some twists and turns pile up and it gets a little confusing at times. Once you know that Ash's deceased wife, Angelica, may not be dead, may be writing a book, but that book could have also been written by his grandmother. And then Angelica isn't really Angelica and her cousins are in the mix. So yeah, it gets a little confusing. Olivia, the muddle-headed woman I wanted to punch in the head, is reasonably stupid. In one scene, she doesn't yet know she's been drugged. Ash comes into her room at night, goes and gets her some pills. She tries to swallow and drink some water, but does one of them turn a fucking light on? They didn't turn the light on. What? Why would you not turn the light on in the middle of the night to go and, you know, get pain pills and a drink? And they kept saying they couldn't see. It's like, yeah, so turn the fucking light on. Come on. There was a constant mention of Ash being people's twice named sexiest man alive. And I mean a constant mention through the whole book. Constant through the whole book. Even at the end when he was voted for a third time. Constant. It got boring. Really fucking boring. Really fucking quickly. She also kept mentioning author brain. Ugh. As in, we authors overthink things really happening in real life and always see a mystery in everything because, you know, we do as authors. Fuck off. Seriously. If she had bothered listening to that fucking author brain, she wouldn't have gotten into the mess she did, stupid bitch. I really hate female characters that are stupid. Look, we don't get author brain. Do we see, you know, a mystery in everything? Of course, because we've trained our brain to come up with ideas for our books. How do you think they fucking exist? You know, because we've sat there and we've come up with the idea. Ugh. So there were red flags everywhere, but did she take notice? No. Thought she knew better, got herself into a couple of issues. Even though she got out of them, it could have ended up worse. God, women always ignore the red flags that fly around men. Why? Probably because we were raised to accept all that and be kind and nice and polite and say nothing against our men. Fuck that shit. Women need to wake up. No wonder I prefer to read about strong women kicking ass and not getting their ass kicked. I gave it 7 out of 10 for a great concept, but it was a little confusing towards the end trying to keep up with everyone and who was alive and who wasn't. And because Olivia needed a 2x4 upside the head, that's an old Aussie saying, and the bad guys didn't lose even though they didn't win. So that was The Fiction Writer by Jillian Cantor and The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. I've read them both this year. 4 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Fiction Writer's the best one out of them, and even then.